You think you've got it figured out. You and your partner both have jobs, good jobs. Maybe you're pulling in 120K, 150K combined. You should feel secure, right? Comfortable? So why are you one medical bill away from panic? You blame yourself. We need to budget better. We need to stop eating out. We need to cut the subscriptions. You look at your parents' generation and think, they made it work on one income. What's wrong with us? Here's what's wrong. Nothing. You're not failing. You're trapped. And not by accident. You're living inside a financial cage that was designed 800 years ago by medieval lords who figured out the perfect way to extract maximum wealth from people while making them feel like they were winning. The two-income trap isn't a modern phenomenon. It's not about smartphones or student loans or avocado toast. It's a medieval scam we just forgot was a scam. And the worst part, we traded something that had protected humanity for 10,000 years, a safety net so powerful it survived plagues, famines, and wars, for the illusion of independence. We went from 100 ropes holding us up to 2 brittle sticks that snap the moment life gets hard. And then it gets worse. Imagine waking up in a world where you and your partner both work full-time. You're making decent money, not rich, but solid middle class. You're doing everything right. And yet somehow, by the 15th of every month, you're staring at your bank account wondering where the hell it all went. The mortgage, the daycare, the car payments, the insurance, health, home, auto, life, the student loans, the property taxes, the utilities, the groceries that somehow cost $200 more than last month. You're not living extravagantly, you're not buying boats or taking luxury vacations, you're just existing. And existing costs everything you make, plus a little more. There's no cushion, no slack. One person loses their job, financial catastrophe. Someone gets sick, bankruptcy territory. The car breaks down, that's the emergency fund gone. You're running on a treadmill set to a speed you can barely maintain, and someone keeps turning it up. And here's the joke. You have more money coming in than households did 50 years ago. Adjusted for inflation, you're making more. 2 incomes instead of 1. So why does it feel like you're drowning while your grandparents, on 1 income, bought a house, raised 4 kids, and retired with a pension? Because you're not competing with your grandparents. You're competing with medieval peasants. And the medieval peasants had something you don't, something we destroyed, something we're now desperately trying to reinvent through Venmo requests and GoFundMe campaigns. They had the commons. The official story, the two-income trap, is a modern problem caused by modern lifestyle inflation. We want bigger houses, fancier cars, better schools. We're victims of our own consumption. Previous generations lived more modestly, saved more, spent less. The story goes, in the 1950s, families thrived on 1 income because they lived simply. Small houses, 1 car, no cable bills or cell phones. They were frugal. Then came the dual income revolution. Women entered the workforce, household income doubled, and instead of getting richer, we just spent more. We bought bigger houses in better neighborhoods, we paid for private schools and endless activities for kids. We lifestyle inflated ourselves into the trap. The solution, they say, is personal responsibility. Budget better. Stop wanting so much. Live like your grandparents did. But that's only the version financial advisors who sell books want you to remember, because it puts the blame entirely on you. It makes this a personal failure, a character flaw, a lack of discipline. The truth, though, this trap isn't new, and it's not about lattes. This exact same financial structure, 2 income sources barely keeping a household afloat while fixed costs devour everything, was deliberately engineered in medieval Europe between 1200 and 1500 CE. And it wasn't designed to help families thrive. It was designed to make them extractable. Let me show you how. Let's go back to a medieval English village around 1200 CE. Forget Hollywood castles and knights. Think mud, wood, shared survival. The fundamental economic unit wasn't the nuclear family working alone. It was the commons. You didn't own a plot of land, you had rights to strips in several large common fields. The expensive plow, shared among the village. The oxen, communal. The harvest, collective. The risk of bad weather, of crop disease, of a sick ox was spread across 100 people. Your safety net wasn't a 401k, it wasn't a savings account, it was the person next to you. If your crop failed one year, the village wouldn't let you starve. If your roof collapsed, neighbors helped rebuild. If you got sick and couldn't work, the community absorbed the loss. This wasn't charity, this wasn't socialism, this was survival economics for a world without insurance companies. The system wasn't designed to make you rich, it was designed to make sure you didn't die. It was a common pot economy. Everyone put in what they could, everyone took what they needed, and the pot was big enough that one person's disaster didn't sink everyone else. For 10,000 years of human civilization, this was the default. Then someone had a better idea. Well, better for them. And this is where the story gets absolutely predatory, because what happened next wasn't natural evolution, it wasn't progress, it wasn't people choosing a better system, it was a calculated economic restructuring that made a very specific group of people very, very rich, and it required destroying the one thing that made ordinary people resilient. The Great Break, the shift to households. Between 1200 and 1500, Europe underwent a massive transformation. Population grew, new lands were cleared, a money economy spread, and a powerful idea took root: enclosure. The commons were divided, fences went up, shared fields became private property, the land you'd had rights to for generations was now someone else's, usually a lord's. But don't worry, you could rent it, or buy your own plot. Finally, you could be independent. The sales pitch was beautiful. Autonomy, freedom, profit from your own sweat, build your own legacy. And for the first time, the ideal household became what economists started calling the two-pillar model. Pillar 1, land, you'd grow your own food. Pillar 2, a trade. Blacksmith, carpenter, weaver, you'd earn coin for everything else. On paper, brilliant, a self-sufficient economic engine. You'd escaped the messy, complicated web of communal obligations. You were now an entrepreneur, a small business owner, a free agent. Congratulations, you'd just signed up for financial hell. Because here's the brutal math they didn't mention in the sales pitch. When you moved from the common pot to your own household ledger, you didn't just gain freedom, you inherited a list of fixed, non-negotiable costs your grandparents never faced alone. Let me show you what just landed on your balance sheet. 1. Rent or mortgage. You no longer have rights to common land. You pay the Lord. Every year, non-negotiable. 2. Tithes, 10%. The church wants its cut, every harvest, every coin you earn. 3. Tools and seed. The village used to share these, now you buy your own, upfront, every planting season. 4. Royal taxes. The king needs to fund wars. You're on the hook. New taxes appear constantly. 5. Defense. The village used to collectively defend itself. Now you're responsible for protecting your own property. The common pot used to absorb all of this, 100 people splitting the burden. Now it lands entirely on your 2 pillars. And those pillars are brittle. A drought hits, your land pillar cracks. No food, no income from crops. You break your arm, your trade pillar collapses. Can't work the forge, can't earn coin. A new war tax gets levied, both pillars groan under the weight. You've gone from a network of 100 ropes holding you up to 2 brittle sticks that snap the moment life gets hard. You've gone from a household with 0 fixed costs to one with dozens of non-negotiable ones. This was the original 2-income trap, the tyranny of 2 pillars. You needed both just to stand still, just to survive. There was no margin, no savings, no slack in the system. The goal was no longer community resilience, it was individual survival. And it made everyone, even the seemingly prosperous, profoundly fragile. And here's the part that should make you furious. This wasn't an accident. This was deliberate economic restructuring. For the lords, for the rising merchant class, for the church, independent households were easier to tax, to control, and to indebt. The old system, the messy, resilient web of mutual obligation, was too hard to extract wealth from. How do you tax a communal harvest when everyone just shares it? How do you indebt people who don't need to borrow because the village has their back? You can't. So you destroy the commons. You force individualization. You create a system where every household must generate two income streams just to afford the new fixed costs you've imposed. And then, here's the genius, you call it freedom. This wasn't an accident. It was a ticking bomb built into the structure of the modern household, and the people who designed it pretended the fragility didn't exist. It's like watching a medieval lord hand you two toothpicks and say, "Congratulations, you're now a homeowner," while ignoring the fact that your entire economic survival now depends on those toothpicks never breaking. And we fell for it. For 800 years, we've been falling for it. We just updated the language. Now look at your life. Pillar 1, your job. Your salary, your health insurance, your 401k match. Everything depends on this not disappearing. Pillar 2, your partner's job. The second income that was supposed to be extra, but is now absolutely non-negotiable for survival. And the fixed costs crushing both pillars? Mortgage or rent in a good school district because that's the only way your kids won't fall behind. Daycare, $1,500 a month minimum. Health insurance premiums, even with employer coverage. Student loans, because education became a mandatory purchase. Car payments, because public transit doesn't exist in most places. Property taxes constantly increasing, utilities, groceries, insurance policies stacked on insurance policies. The structure is identical. Two pillars straining under fixed costs designed to consume them. The commons, extended family living nearby, stable pensions, affordable community resources, neighbors who actually help each other, is gone. We are all 13th century freeholders now, wondering why our two good incomes don't make us feel safe. Because the system was never designed to make us feel safe. It was designed to make us productive and extractable. The solution, the three-legged stool. So what's the answer? Move to a medieval village and start communal farming? No, but the wisdom is recognizing the flawed design and refusing to build your life on just two brittle pillars. The families who survived the medieval transition, the ones who built legacies, understood something crucial. You need a third leg for the stool. Here's what that looks like today. Leg 1, your primary work, your job, your career, your main income source. Leg 2, your partner's work, if you have one, the dual income reality we live in. Leg 3, your modern commons. This is everything you build outside the two-pillar trap, and this is where you take back control. What is your modern commons? Financial margin, living on 60 to 70% of what you earn, not 105%, creating slack in the system. A truly affordable home, not the maximum mortgage the bank says you can afford. A home that doesn't require both incomes to keep. A side skill that earns during a layoff. Freelance writing, consulting, a trade skill, something that generates income outside your primary job. Intentional community, friends and neighbors who trade skills, share resources, actually help each other. Your own modern commons. Equity and assets. Owning things that appreciate or generate passive income, not just earning a salary. This third leg isn't about making more money. It's about building different kinds of wealth that the system can't easily tax, inflate away, or take from you when one pillar cracks. It's about creating resilience in a system designed for fragility. The two-income trap feels modern. It feels like a failure of personal discipline. But it's not. It's an 800-year-old scam that we keep falling for because we forgot it was a scam. It's the story of what we gave up for the illusion of independence, a shared safety net that actually worked. We can't return to the medieval common field, but we can stop building our lives on just two brittle pillars waiting to snap. Build your third leg, rediscover your own commons. Because financial resilience was never about having more income than your neighbors. It was, and always will be, about needing less from a system designed to keep you straining. You're not failing. The system is working exactly as designed. Now, stop playing by its rules. If you like my videos and more like this, please like and subscribe to my channel.